Intro music.
Come on in.
A star for the ages for Tony Gwynn, number 3,000.
And the ball game is over. The series is over. Welcome to Slam Diego.
My name is James.
My name is Joey.
And this is the Brothers Padre.
James. Happy March 6th. How are you?
I'm all right. And yourself?
Doing great. It's 24 days until real baseball.
Yeah.
We're getting some realish baseball before that time.
Yeah, you and I both, to get ready, our spring training yesterday was, we were both watching a Korean baseball game on YouTube while texting back and forth.
Yeah.
Like we do when we watch games during the regular season.
Yeah, it felt good. It felt weird to wait for Ha-Sung Kim to have to bat because he's still getting reps in, so he wasn't particularly great.
Yeah.
But it's our spring training too. Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, it's spring training time, and lots of Padres are shipping away to WBC, which is the more realish baseball that's going to happen before that time. But we haven't recorded in a while. And since we recorded, there's been an extension explosion.
I was going to say, get out the cords, we have an extension. But that's a stupid pun.
And the biggest, of course, is Manny Machado. If you follow Padres news, you've seen this. But we're going to talk about it a little bit. Manny Machado extended for 11 years, $350 million. The man's going to get even more richer in life, and very happy for him. And what are your thoughts about this? What's your kind of feelings about it? What's your hesitations? What do you fear for, James? What are you afraid of? Like, is it like in a coming apocalypse? Is it just like,
Well, I mean, the typical, ever pending doom that is life, the existential crisis of, is there a God? Things like that. But as far as Manny Machado, I was never afraid of that. I kind of thought the whole, I'm going to opt for a free agency was just a ploy. I think they was probably just feelers to see if maybe Manny's agent was, hey, is someone going to offer him a stupid contract? Like, if he got a feel that the Mets want to give him $500 million, I would assume he would have opted out. But that's not going to happen. But what I did like about it is, and it shows that he is, even though we just gave him his second $300 million contract, a team player, is that he gave us a very, as weird as it sounds, team-friendly contract.
Right. Yep. Yeah. Basically, this deal is structured for the first 5 years. He's making far less than he will on the end of the 11-year deal, allowing for potentially someone else to sign on top of that.
And a big chunk of his money was bonuses that gets paid out, and bonuses don't go towards the end salary cap.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so we'll be able to sign more players because of his contract. Which that's some weird baseball math right there, that you could give somebody $350 million and it's a deal.
Yeah, it's still going to be, it's a lot of money. And so I don't want to cut you off. Give me other thoughts before I give my thoughts.
No, the other thought is, he's going to be playing until he's 41. That's true. And here's the thing. If in the next 10 years the Padres have one, possibly more, World Series titles, it does not matter.
No.
The last year of Tony Gwynn's contract, he still hit over 300, but that's only because he had like 50 plate appearances.
Yeah.
We still cheered him on, even though he really couldn't play the same level he was playing 2 years prior, like anybody else. He was a Padre. We loved him. And that's going to happen for Manny.
Yep.
His 41 year, if he's not playing the same level he could play now, we're still going to cheer him when he comes up to bat.
Yep.
Because he's Manny Machado. Yep. And he saved the Padres organization.
Yeah, I think Peter Seiler's comment was impression is that he was the start of this current age of Padres. I think, and he filled the gap where it needed to be filled, of a guy who could carry a team. Because, I mean, people are going to misremember last year, but the Padres offense was not consistent last year.
No, not at all.
Except for one guy, and that was Manny Machado. He literally carried the team. Had great starting pitching, but they needed some offense, and he provided it. And he is the right person for this Padre era. He is proven to be super consistent. James and I have spilled much ink about our love for Manny Machado. This is not unusual. We're not the kind of fans to be annoyed by this, because we love Manny greatly. And for all the fans that think it's, and I'm going to keep saying this until it's, well, let me back up. A lot of fans all of a sudden listening to Padres, it seems like they kind of wish that we didn't spend so much money, because they're always so worried about our future. To which I say, please look at our past.
Exactly.
I don't want to be trite here, but I have watched 3 decades. I'm going to be scientific with this, of dog crap baseball.
That's a scientific term, I'm pretty sure.
There is, I'll give 5 of those years as not dog crap. I'll be charitable. Maybe 6. I've watched 24 years of dog crap baseball.
I here's the thing.
Yeah.
Maybe because I'm a little bit older than you. I think there's, out of the 30 plus years I've been a Padre fan, I think 10 of those years were decent. I would go with 94 to 98. We were a competitive team.
Yeah.
2 of those years we were actually winners. The early 2000s, the Phil Nevins and the Ryan Klesko's, we were middle of the pack. We weren't winning championships, but we were a good and fun team to watch. Mm-hmm. And that, is worth the price of admission to watch a fun team. Then you have that little stretch in the beginning of the 2000s where we won the NL West 3 years in a row. But that team had a worse offense than the Nevin and Klesko era. We won our division and we were 2 games over 500?
We weren't very good.
That was not a good year. And then now.
Yeah. I think as a fan, I could care less about the balance sheet of a baseball team. I want to enjoy what I watch, because ultimately that's what a fan is.
Yeah, exactly.
I like storylines. I like seeing people be around for a while. I like watching people perform at a high level. And I've watched lots of Padres teams not perform at any high level. So I will gladly watch Manny Machado for 11 years. And for the last 2 years, he's not as good. And I don't care how much he spends, because it's not my money. And ultimately, the next 5 years is going to be hyper competitive.
Complaining about the Padres spending money like this is the same as somebody saying, can you believe Disney pays Robert Downey Jr. $45 million every time he puts on the Iron Man costume? What if they run out of money? No, it's not your money. It's not, and here's the thing. I thought about this a lot. If we have 5 years in a row of super competitive, let's say we win the NL West 3 of the 5 years, next 5 years, and we could go to the ball game. Every time we go to the ball game, it's like a 90% chance we're going to see a win. That is so much better than times you go to the baseball game. It's like, it's 90% chance we're going to lose. Yeah. I've seen the Padres at their worst, and I was still a fan.
Yeah.
Are you telling me if the Padres in 8 years all of a sudden can't string 3 W's together, you're going to stop being a fan?
Right.
No, that's on you. That's on your fandom.
Right.
Don't put that on us, and don't put that on the ownership. They're trying to give you memories now.
Right.
Again, Like, do they do again? It's a perfect analogy. Do these people complain how much money Chris Hemsworth makes every Thor movie, every Avengers movie? No, they don't. Why are you complaining about the Padres?
Yep.
It's all entertainment.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
I agree. And I'm happy he's around. And it's the Padres are now big spenders. And not only are they big spenders, they look like to be even bigger spenders, which is an insane thing to think. But listen, that's our fandom, right? We're the Yankees of the West Coast. That's who we are now. We just got to own it and just somehow come to terms with it. So
we just need like a string of corrupt governors and mayors and things like that, and then we'd be New York.
So, title of this episode is Extension Season, because we've extended Darvish, we've extended Machado, and little butterflies have been sent out. Little birdies? Is that expression? Little birdies of saying?
Feelers.
A little birdie told me something. That's the expression.
John Heyman, National Republican writer.
On Twitter, which is the Bird app. There we go. Tied it together.
One of the most well-respected sports writers and baseball writers wrote
that the Padres are interested in extending both not Manny Machado, Juan Soto, and Josh Hader. Soto has been talked about for a while. Buster Olney, a few months ago, interviewed Preller, and he said, "Oh yeah, we're going to talk to Manny and Soto this spring about an extension." But Hader was kind of a new one too, and I don't know how much of it is Scott Boras like pushing the issue and making people write about Soto and Hader, but I think the Juan Soto thing is very real.
I do too.
I don't think you trade that much good prospect capital and not plan to have that person down a long time.
Yeah, because it looks like James Wood will be in the starting lineup for the Washington Nationals, and Mackenzie Gore is going to be one of their starting pitchers this year. Now, is Wood good enough to be in the majors at this point? Probably not, but neither are half of the Nationals.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Oh, and C.J. Abrams is their starting shortstop.
Yeah.
They're already making, but he's having a bobblehead game night this year in Washington. So good for C.J. And I think their plan was to extend him the second they traded for him. Also because it's really telling that they're trying to make him, listen, you're a big part of this team. We want you to be on these decisions. We want you to be an ambassador to San Diego, because they know that they have a talented superstar on their hands. And Machado and Darvish both saying, hey, listen, we made these contracts, even though we're still getting paid ungodly sums, to make it more friendly so we can sign bigger names. And I think, this is just my personal opinion, I think Scott Boras is looking to reestablish himself as a agent that could get his players things done, because after the whole Carlos Correa signed for 3 separate teams during the offseason debacle, which a lot of it can be thrown on Scott Boras' shoulders.
Sure.
I think he's looking. He'll probably encourage them to trade, and he loves the Padres.
Yeah, someone should do the math of which modern team has given Scott Boras the most money. Padres got to be up there, if not the most.
Well, here's the best example of why I think Scott Boras, the baseball agent, is the best agent in baseball. How many other baseball agents names do you know?
Yeah. I forget Dan Lozano's name, who is Manny's and Tatis agent. And I only remember it because Manny had a press conference recently and he was next to him. Oh, that's Dan Lozano. And then I forget his name. But I never forget Scott Boras' name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Scott Boras said, gave the Padres a familiar nickname.
Scott Boras is known for giving nicknames, apparently.
Yeah. He also is a big pun guy, which I know you don't like. But
obviously by the extension cord pun earlier,
Yeah.
which I'm not even sure is a pun.
Yeah.
I always have to remember what the heck is a pun because there's only bad ones.
If you groan during the joke, it's probably a pun. Probably a pun.
It's also not a joke.
It's true. Yeah. Depends, I guess. So, Scott Boras said San Diego Padres are effectively with those four people, Xander Bogaerts, Tatis Machado, and Juan Soto is Mount Crushmore.
Which is an amazing name. Which, how come it's not a shirt already?
Yeah.
That's and the thing is it's just one of those things like Mount Rushmore. Okay, for the best presidents
Yeah.
the United States has ever had. But we also have Jake Cronenworth. That's one of the best offensive second basemen / first baseman the Padres have ever had, you know? Like, we have Matt Carpenter. I mean, yeah, he hasn't played his game as a Padre yet, but there's so many other great players on our team right now. It's astounding.
Yeah. So I guess the question for you, James, is do you feel like we will extend Juan Soto before opening day? Or is this all smoke and mirrors?
I don't know because Juan Soto's playing the World Baseball Classic. I doubt they're going to be because World Baseball Classic, the games are happening so quickly. There really isn't a day off for the offensive players. I doubt they're going to try to talk to his agent and try to extend it there. After the World Baseball Classic, there's going to be another 4 games of spring training?
Yeah.
Maybe that would be a good thing.
Peter Seidler is traveling to the World Baseball Classic, though.
Of course he is. I mean, he was probably going to walk up to every super free agent, soon-to-be free agent, like, hey, have you seen Coronado? I know you say you've tried guacamole, but have you tried guacamole from real avocados? That's yeah, of course he is. I think there's a better chance of Hader being extended before spring training's end than Juan Soto. I think Juan Soto, if he gets extended, might be before the season, but probably halfway through the season.
Interesting. I think I'm of the other opinion. I don't think if he doesn't sign this year, I don't think he signs it. I think that if he doesn't sign before opening day, there's a good possibility he won't. There's a good possibility he won't resign. I think that the offer the Padres are going to give him is going to be bananas. There's no one can look at this Padre ownership and be like, they're pretty conservative, right? Right. They're going to float a $500 million deal to him.
Absolutely.
I
was thinking like $425 for 15 years.
Yeah, it's the same AAV, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're going to float something stupid, just stupid. They're going to, and it's just going to be up to Juan to be like, how much do I want to risk in free agency to get more? And supposedly turned down a $14,440 from Washington. And I think, as many pundits said, it's like a little different team. He left a team that has no real future for like when they're going to have the rebuild. And you have the Padres who have basically said, hey, we have a Xander Bogaerts fellow, this Tatis fellow, this Machado fellow, this Darvish fellow, this Musgrove fellow, all signed for at least 5 years. So for 5 years at least, it's going to be a pretty good team. And that might be enough. That might be enough to be like, oh, this ownership means business, and I'm incentivized to stay because I like winning.
Yeah. And also, it was proof last year he didn't like he seems like the type of guy that likes to know, has a routine. He gets up in the same bed every morning. You know, he likes his life. He's not a flashy player. He seems like
I don't know about that.
He's flashy and cocky, but he isn't. He doesn't come off as the same type of, like, he doesn't seem like he is a like up front in your face leader type of a guy. He'd rather lead from the back. And
sure.
Like, yeah, he's cocky when he's up there because he has the right to be. I think, yeah, I agree. If he's not signed by the All-Star break, he's waiting until the end of his contract.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a big fan of it. I think that even before he's a Padre, you and I have talked about how much we love watching him play and how his talent projects to be all-time status talent.
Also, here's the thing about another thing that I think a lot of players look at. Manny Machado, Juan Soto, Fernando Tatis Jr. up until the PED thing were all on, and Xander Bogaerts to some extent, were all on Hall of Fame trajectory status.
Yep.
What helps you the most as a hitter? Protection in the lineup.
Yep.
Juan Soto can sign a big contract, but he might not be signing on a team that has a Machado and a Bogaerts sitting behind you for the next healthy Machado and Bogaerts for the next 5-6 years.
Yep.
That's going to increase the amount of pitches he sees, the better pitches he sees, and all of his stats are going to go up just because it's like, oh, there's a runner on. Do we want to walk Soto? No. Well, because he has these two guys behind him. And again, and like, oh yeah, and well, maybe we can walk all three of them. Yeah, but Matt Carpenter isn't a slouch.
No.
Jake Cronenworth can still get hits. The amount of protection this has to pad up your stats is a big draw, I would think. Especially if you want to especially if at the end of your career you want to, have that star next to your name, Hall of Famer, have a plaque. You need good stats. Because up until, everyone keeps saying, oh, well, he didn't have great stats last year in Washington. Who was hitting behind him in Washington before he was traded? Nobody. Josh Bell was hitting in front of him.
Yeah. Yeah. And he also had his off year, still led the league in walks, still had a run WRC plus of 139, which means Crates run 39% more than an average player.
Yeah.
We expect him to be
batting 300, 40 home runs.
Right. And, I think that's there. His spring training, he's been insane this spring training. He's been bonkers. And so it's just like, there's a guy in there that's just the destroyer of worlds of baseball. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the extension, and I hope it happens because just the amount of fans that will come from the core four, the four fathers, but I really like that nickname, Mount Crushmore. Like those are the fandom birth from the 1 to 4 in the lineup for the next 5 years is going to be insane, right? It's just going to be insane. And I think there's a possibility that the first 5 years, like Boris might do a contract that's like, people have said this online, it's like, he might have an opt-out for 5 years, right?
Yeah.
And that might be how it works.
So I just had a random thought. If you were to make the Mount Crushmore statue, obviously Manny Machado's Washington.
Yeah.
You'd have to put Tatis as Jefferson, right? He's the next one on that list.
Yeah.
Who's Roosevelt and who's Lincoln?
I think Soto is Roosevelt. Like, be quiet and carry a big stick. That's Son Soto.
And he's cocky.
Oh yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And also very boisterous, and he's a very personable person. And Lincoln's the quiet, result-driven person, which is like a very standard Bogaerts thing.
Yeah. It's perfect. You hear that, shirt makers out there? And if you make this, I'm not saying I want a cut, but at least a free shirt. A long shirt. I'm tall and they never make enough long shirts.
So, James, we talked about extensions. We're in this time of year for the World Baseball Classic. Are you excited for the World Baseball Classic?
I am.
Who do you have? Who do you expect to win, and who do you want to win?
Well, the two best teams right now are America and the Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
Which makes me want Korea to win. Just because I've always liked an underdog.
Yeah.
Who I expect to win would be the Dominican Republic.
Yeah. If they if they go to the final game of the tournament and Sandy Alcantara is pitching and that lineup rolls out, like you have Machado,
Soto,
Cruz, Julio Rodriguez, Soto,
Starling Marte,
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I mean, that's what are we doing here?
that also might be all the starters for the All-Star game this year.
Yeah. The only reason why I'm hesitant about America is the starting pitching isn't great.
No.
And we like Nick Martinez, but he's not going to carry a team tournament. Where I think that I'd be curious to know how good starting pitching is. Because if you answer your question, who do you think is going to win? And who do you want to win? Who do
I think is going to
who
win?
do you
Is
hope to win? Yeah,
Dominican Republic.
yeah, you think yeah?
Again, I would just because
It's stacked.
I
They're
think
so
Korean
stacked.
baseball is just scrappy. I like watching Korean baseball. I mean, I want to learn Korean just to know what they're saying because those announcers seem to talk way more than our announcers do.
Oh yeah, they were very chatty.
They were just like, I'm pretty sure they were both reading audiobooks. Like, there's nothing they could be talking about that much. I want to know what they're saying. And I guess I could turn on closed captioning, but whatever. Who has the time to read? Anyways, but I would want, just because Korea, I think, would be a scrappy underdog team. But Dominican Republic has this in the bag.
Yeah. So I think if starting pitching is at a premium and mows through these unspring trained folks, Japan might destroy people.
Yeah.
With Shohei, with Darvish. I forget the guy's name if there's 103 in Japan. I just think that could just mow down people. Also, that's the same. Shohei can hit too, so it's very rude. But I think who I think who I'd like to see win. I think Venezuela has a really good team. I think they're scrappy enough. They have that old guy energy about them. Peralta, Miggy Cabs, Altuve. I think they have a chance. I think they have a chance to be pull through. But I think he's going to win. I'm going to say Japan. I think Japan's going to win just because I think starting pitching based on the one WBC exhibition game I watched so far, pitching destroyed. It just owned. The good pitching just destroyed teams.
Yeah, a good pitching performance.
Yeah, I just think Japan has the best pitching talent. At least starters wise. Like who does the WBC has for Dominican? Do you have
Sandy Alcantara.
Yeah. So who else is that?
Can't remember.
Hang on. I'm looking up Dominican Republic roster. Let's see here.
This is great podcasting.
This is just incredible podcasting. People love to know that I'm scrolling my phone looking for roster resources on a World Baseball Classic.
Nice to know we do so much show prep that yeah.
So let's talk about Dominican Republic one more time. Machado, Soto, Devers, Julio Rodriguez, Wander Franco, and World Series MVP Jeremy Pena. Vladimir Guerrero's hurt, so they're hurt a little bit in their starting lineup. I guess you have Sandy Alcantara, and then you have Rafael Montero, Gregory Soto, and Camille Duvall. And Christian Javier is also playing the starter.
Those are all good pitchers.
Those are all good pitchers.
Soto, the pitcher, is an underrated pitcher.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. After Sandy, it's kind of not quite as dominant as I thought it was going to be. I think starting pitching might. I'm a double down on Japan. I think Japan's going to.
Okay.
I think they're going to win it, and who I'd like to see is Venezuela. So.
All right.
I'm excited to see it. It's a fun. I like that tournament a lot. It's fun.
It is fun. It's a lot of fun, and also they're doing things like the first round, the pitchers can only throw 65 pitches, and then they're automatically out. Next round is like 80 pitches. Next final round to make it 95 pitches. So they are trying to preserve these guys' arms because Major League Baseball is still putting this on. They don't want to hurt their main product. But no, every time since they've been doing this, no one's ever had a bad year coming out of the World Baseball Classic because they're still basically in spring training, but it's a more competitive spring training, so it gets them in that mindset quicker.
Yep. I'm excited. It should be a fun time, and Padres opening days in 24 days. I'm very excited.
Super cool.
Very, very excited. Petco is going to be insane. There's no way around it.
I really feel bad for the 3 Rockies fans that are going to show up opening day.
What's the over under Rocky fans? 10 maybe? Like, would you take the under or the over on that?
Well, so I was at the first Juan Soto game where we played the Rockies,
right.
and my friend Kevin and I were trying to count the Rockies fans. Yeah. We got to 2.
It was like, where's Waldo in public
It
life?
was like, find the purple. And we thought we saw a purple person, but it was just a girl wearing a purple jacket, and she had on a Padre floppy hat.
Yeah. It's going to be wild. It's going to be a fun time. Anything else to talk about, James?
I'm impressed with Julio Teheran so far in spring training. Jackson Murrow, I think he's a young, promising baseball player that is going to have a lot of eyes on him, and yeah. So I think as far as players coming up, I think we're looking pretty good. Campusano hit a home run the other day, crushed the ball. That's good to see. Yeah, everything's progressing. I couldn't tell you how many wins and losses we have in spring training because I just don't care.
Who cares? As people often say on the internet, spring training stats only matter if it fits your agenda, and that's the truth.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because most of the time they're bad. They're just ASR. Or not particularly enlightening.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for Padres baseball. We'll have a lot more episodes coming up about roster reviews and opening day review and stuff like that. And it'll be a fun time, James. But get back in the swing of things. Watch some real baseball. It'll be a good time.
So looking forward to it.
Until next time, James. Go Padres.
Go Padres.
And there it is! Ho-ho, doctor! You can hang a star on that, baby!